What is good, YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just BS and podcast, and today we have episode 89. We are almost 90 episodes deep, which means, dude, here in about another 2 months, we're gonna be at episode 100, which will probably be right around the time of mini camp. Like it'll be prime 2-a-day sort of football time.
Preseason football, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be lovely. I may have to get up and close my one window here in a minute because it's starting to torrential downpour all of a sudden that came out of nowhere. But anyways, Andrew, how are we feeling? Obviously we don't really have a whole lot going on besides guards. We got the finals going on tonight, which we'll talk a little bit about tonight as well. But overall, how the vibes going?
I mean, the vibes are good, man. I'm enjoying everything that's going on right now. Yeah, nothing crazy has been going on. Just good old fashioned regular vibes. Also, if you just see me react, David Fry just came close to a solo home run. He was about the guy jumped just above the wall to catch it. So David Fry almost just hit a home run. So I almost just went fucking crazy for a second. So, but other than that, the vibes are great.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, obviously Fry came up. I believe it was last week he came up. So he's only gotten to play a few games, but looks good at the plate. He's going to do a lot of DH as we talked about. You're not going to see him in the infield at all, as he's still trying to basically recover from his UCL surgery, which is kind of low key what they did with Ohtani last year. Like he didn't do anything besides hit, but there's a reason he had the season that he did at the plate because that's all he needed to do. And that's really all they need him to do ever with how stacked that stupid lineup is.
Yeah.
And speaking of another stacked lineup, the Guardians are currently going up against the Bronx Bombers. I almost said the Boston Bombers, but the Bronx Bombers, aka the smallest MLB stadium known to man. My goodness, they have little league home runs over there. It's ridiculous. Which was pretty much the story of game one. But game two, the Guardians came out, pitched a nice game out of Luis Ortiz, having another solid start. Like,
Yeah.
His last month to month and a half really has been a lot better. And I know he's still 3-6 on the year, but he's pitching some really clean baseball, not giving up a lot of hits or runs, and he's striking a lot of people out. Like he's doing what he needs to do, and he's sort of doing what we thought he was capable of doing, especially at the end of last season. So, what do you think about Luis Ortiz? Because dude, at the start of the season, that was so rough. I was like, man, I don't know if he's gonna make the whole year. Like he may not make it, but now he's turning into another Ben Lively for us.
Yeah, well, when I saw him come from Pittsburgh, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" Like I went to a Guardians Pittsburgh game in Cleveland last season, where he pitched against us and he decimated us. I was like, "Oh my god, this guy is really good." And like you said, to the start of the year, man, he was really bad. He had a 15 ERA or something. Like he was just giving up run after run after run. He was killing us. For the month of May, I saw the stat the other day. For the month of May, Luis Ortiz has a 2.95 ERA for the month of May. Like he has really, really changed it and turned it around. And I tell you what, like you said, he's becoming one of the more like the Ben Lively. Like if he could just turn it around and stay like this now, this is a good addition to the rotation for. It takes a lot of pressure off of Bybee. It takes a lot of pressure off of Gavin. It doesn't force BEIBER to have to race back to the lineup either. Like he could stay out for a little bit if he needs to, but we'll get to that in a moment. And I still think no matter what, I still think we should go out and probably get maybe another starter just in case, because obviously we don't know what could happen. And you could always ship someone because a couple of these guys were bullpen, like Saccone and Ortiz were former bullpen pitchers. So even if you really need to, Saccone's having a good start to the year too. He could always, if you need to, you could always sneak him back into the bullpen and just have him be like a longer reliever. So, but Yeah, I think Luis Ortiz has been at least phenomenal in the last month that he has pitched, and I hope the trend for him continues because he really needs it to keep going for sure.
And we as a team really need
Yeah,
it. The starting rotation has been somewhat luster. They have really good moments, and then they have
yeah,
really bad moments. And it seems like the bad moments tend to outweigh the good moments, where it'll be 4 or 5 innings of solid baseball. Like you're
yeah.
striking out the side, you are not you're not giving up any home runs at all, and then like Bybee the other night just went a little bit too long, which probably wasn't his fault. It was probably on Vote to pull him out after having the 90 something, you know, throws that
Mhm.
he had. Um, Pulling him instead of having him go out there and then giving it back, back to back home runs. And again, the smallest ballpark in the entire world, um, just kind of ruins it for you.
Yeah.
It ruins out the strong start that he had overall. And even guys like Gavin Williams have had the same problems where they will have outstanding games where they're playing shutout baseball, and then they have 1 or 2 bad pitches that just turn the game around. And the Guardians are not this super slugfest type of team. Like they're not going to be hitting a ton of home runs. They're not going to put up a whole lot of runs, but they're gonna make you pay when they can, and sometimes they just don't have it. Like that's just how it goes. But
Yeah.
you know, the starting guys have to bring it every night, and they have to be consistent. And if we can get a lot more out of Saccone, that's fantastic. Especially again with the Shane Bieber news, we don't know what's going on there yet. There's just some, news about him having some sort of arm soreness, which is usually never good. But we'll see. I mean, growing up, I had arm soreness after every time that I pitched, so you
Yeah.
know, you never know what it really could be. All you know is he's coming back from the UCL, so surgery, the Tommy John, surgery, and if this has aggravated it, and this potentially could push him back, or even have him get another one, you're talking about a career ender at this point,
Mhm.
like at least for a Guardians uniform. And at that point, you definitely like 1000% have to go after some sort of starting pitcher. But I even think, regardless of what this says, or like if this will knock him out a few weeks or so, or if he's going to be fine, I still think you should still look to go get yourself another starter.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be a serious priority, because you don't know when John Means is going to be back. Um, and again, with the way that these guys have pitched, you really don't know. You really don't know what's going on with guys like Cantillo. I mean, I know he's doing well in AAA again, but sort of a topic of conversation that you and I had with Sean last night, um, in terms of more Rocchio, is some of these guys just tend to play better in AAA or AA, and then they come up to the big leagues and they sort of lay an egg, or just really don't get themselves solidified in the lineups, and often find it hard to stay up there. And right now Cantillo is sort of in that hole where he's not really able to find himself to stay on the big league team, but when he's down there in the minors, he's doing work. And same with guys like Brian Rurrucchio, which is honestly a little bit of a shocker. I thought he was toast, but apparently, he has like 5 home runs since he's gone down to AAA Columbus. And honestly, that team in general has quite a few guys that are absolutely raking. You got, guys like Kafis, who are, I think he's batting over like 340 or 350. Like he has some ridiculous, just insane stats. And then obviously DeLauder is really coming back in full swing. He seems to be doing some really good things, both on the offensive side and on the defensive side of the ball. I know he made a really good play in the outfield a few days ago. So with the way some of these guys are playing, like Noel, Will Wilson is sort of a guy that you can move on from. Even if you feel like Arias needs more work in the minors, you can make some some choices. It really sucks that Brito still is out, because I would be calling for Brito. And honestly, I would have a long time ago, to be honest, over Will Wilson. He hasn't done anything to me to really keep him up here permanently. But for now, that's just where everything sort of lies right now. Um, but the team is still like in a solid position. Like we talked about this before we started. They're first in the wild card. They're above the Twins, who just received some really bad injury news as well to one of their starting rotational guys. So the Twins could see sort of a down slope here very soon, and this is when the Guardians can really sort of solidify themselves, at least in the wild card. Um, but I also don't see Detroit being able to keep up their pace that they have for the whole year either. What do you think about that? Because we took that series against Detroit, and I just wasn't really truly impressed with what they have besides Skubal. Like that's, I mean, yeah, they have quality guys, but man, I'm telling you, like the Guardians just seem to have an edge on them. It's like LeBron versus Toronto. Like that's how it feels against Detroit right now.
Yeah, we've always kind of had Detroit's number over the last couple of years. In fact, almost probably in like the last like maybe decade, we've always had.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, we've always kind of had Detroit's number, and have always taken care of business of them. Yeah, no, I obviously see the Twins slowing down quite a bit because this is about the time of the year where they start getting injured and they start losing a bunch of guys, and their season's pretty much over at this point. Um, for the Tigers, it seems like they win games only when like two certain pitchers pitch, but then the other times it's just like, okay, cool, like they don't win games, like they lost today. And I think it was Mize who was the pitcher, and Mize was supposed to be their second best pitcher, and he just has been struggling since he came back from his injury.
Right.
Because I think his first game was against us, and we smoked him. And so I think when it comes to Detroit, and to be fair, for the last couple of years, we've always had the AL Central's numbers because we have right now the season lead, I think, on Kansas City. We have the season lead on Detroit, and we have the season lead on Minnesota. So, and we have, we do have the season lead on Chicago because I think we've played Chicago already. I don't remember if we had or not, but I think we did. And I think we swept them.
So.
Yeah, I think we swept them. But that's the thing that like makes the Guardians like a dangerous team no matter what, because like even if they were to catch up to Detroit soon, the Guardians have all the tiebreakers because they're beating the Twins, they're beating Detroit, they're beating Kansas City, they're beating Chicago, we're beating everyone in our division.
Yeah.
And the only teams we're losing to are like, okay, yeah, we've lost. Actually, we have this season series on the Yankees right now, 3-2, and this is the last game. So if we manage to squeak one out tonight, we take the season series against New York. But there's some teams where we kind of just have not been good against.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has actually, and I don't know if anyone's noticed, but it's actually been an interleague play. So like when we play like the Phillies, the Reds, the Dodgers, when we play these like interleague, like the National League teams, it's like for some, obviously besides Colorado, because everyone's hammering Colorado right now.
Yeah.
But it seems like these like interleague games are the games we cannot win for some reason. But for us, it's almost like it doesn't really matter because you just need to focus on the AL.
Right.
But yeah, Detroit will decline. And I get it. Skubal is going up for Cy Young. He's one of the best pitchers in the league, and
Absolutely.
I give him that. Like he's insane. Like he's really good, and it's hard to compete against him. But then like that's really all they have. And then they have like a couple good hitters like Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, and maybe like two other hitters. And if those guys aren't hitting the ball well or aren't hot, they just lose.
Right.
The only time they win with those guys not doing anything is when Tarek Skubal's pitching. That's it. So I think the Guardians will be fine. Like we said, once the news comes out on Shane Bieber, because he was supposed to pitch tomorrow in Akron. Um, I'm sure we'll get news probably later tonight, maybe early tomorrow, about what has happened to Shane Bieber. But if it's just something like arm soreness, it could just be that he's obviously coming back from the injury and his arm's just a little tired from throwing so many bullpen sessions that it's just a little sore, and it'll be okay in the next couple of days, and he'll get back out there and pitch. And
Yeah, you hope so.
but if it is something a little bit more serious, you have to go out and chase one of these starting pitchers. Like you have to, and this is the part of the duel. This is the part where you actually have to spend some money and kind of go out and get somebody, because you can't just be like, well, we could call up someone from AAA and see if they can like. It hasn't happened yet where a guy has come up from AAA. The last one who was Doug Nikhazy, and he got smoked.
Right.
So it tells you he's not ready for the league yet, even though he's a hell of a AAA pitcher, not ready for the big leagues.
No.
So you have to go do something. You have to go and get somebody. And I still think you have to regardless, just to keep yourself competitive and just in the league alone. So we'll see what happens. I know the Guardians are at their best when they have good quality pitching and a good quality bullpen. But as of right now, just doesn't really seem like it. And Saccone gave up a 2-run homer for those who haven't been watching.
Awesome.
Of course, it was one of those little league home runs where it just barely escaped out of a ballpark, but would be a flyout everywhere else.
Yeah.
So, of course, you're playing New York. That's what you get.
Yeah, that's the downside of playing in that wretched place. I still think that stadium is just such BS, as you guys can tell. But yeah, I mean, the Bieber news is going to be really, really rough because we were all like super, super hopeful about him coming back here in the next month or so. I mean, everything sort of started trending for him to really be up by like July. And this might put a damper on that for good. We'll see. Usually when they say, he's going to meet with his doctors and his the surgeon and stuff, then something could have gone wrong. We don't know, and we probably won't know until tomorrow. But yeah, we are going to need some starting help regardless of what happens, because Saccone's been good, but he's only pitched a few games, so you got to give him time.
Yeah.
And again, you don't know what's going on with guys like Means, and can you trust to bring up a guy like Cantillo and have him start instead of being the bullpen? You can't really bring up anybody else in particular. It's going to be interesting. It's not a great situation, but if there's one thing that we've learned about this Guardians team throughout the years, it's that they've always seemed to sort of find a way to sort of limp to the finish line. But after last year, we really wanted to see them sort of take that next step and really start to solidify themselves as just like one of the top teams, at least in the AL, especially with how kind of weak the AL is, if I'm going to be real. I mean, the AL is not that crazy beyond New York. I mean, again,
we're still a top 4 team in the American League.
Yeah, I mean, Detroit,
New
York has been about the best teams in the AL besides us.
And then we're tied with Minnesota.
Yeah, they're going to start to go down pretty significantly. I mean, it sucks too because we're in the toughest division possible.
Yeah,
for any of this shit to happen. Like every team but the White Sox is basically like in the hunt for the wild card still right now, and that's probably going to be the theme for, I would say, a majority, if not all season. Just again because how bad the rest of the AL is. And God knows where that's going to go. But I mean, still, the positive stuff about this is we have a lot of guys still playing really good ball. Like obviously, Jose's been on a tear. His hit streak ended, but he's already going to pick right back up and do exactly what he's been doing. He's got some incredible stats going right now. He's an MVP candidate at this point, and honestly, seems like every year he's a MVP candidate for the last like 5 years. Jose is just that dude. He's one of the best players in the league for a reason. And I saw somebody make this comment of it's not that he's like underrated, he's undermarketed. Like
Yeah.
the MLB doesn't do a good job of having to market their big time players besides Otani, but it's because Otani is such the this powerhouse guy who was such a huge story coming into the pros even. Um, there's a reason why he was what he was. And even guys like Juan Soto, were the same way. Betts used to be a guy that was highly regarded in the MLB, and you sort of see him take a back seat on that team because of Otani. Mike Trout is still very relevant, but the Angels suck. Bryce Harper is there, but I mean, the Phillies aren't that good. I think they've sort of taken a back seat from what they were last year. I don't know, man. The MLB does a really bad job of having to market their players, and I think the NBA is sort of having a tough time finding their new face of sort of the league because of obviously all of these guys like LeBron and stuff. They're getting ready to get out of the league here in the next year or two. Like LeBron is 40 years old. There's no denying he's getting older, and one day he is going to retire. When that happens, the league is going to be different.
Yeah.
And they are scrambling over there to try to find the faces. Well, at least the NFL, the NFL does the best job out of any of them at really marketing certain players. Everybody knows who Myles Garrett is. Everybody knows who Pat Mahomes is, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, A-Rod. Everybody knows Jay Jetta and Jamar Chase. And everybody knows Derrick Henry. Like, I can go on and on. These people know it's because of fantasy or it's just because they do a really good job of using part of their marketing tactics as investing in their players and saying, look at this. Like, this is the best part of this game. It's these players, and the MLB just it's so weird that a sport that doesn't have a cap
Yeah.
on their salary or anything does such a piss poor job of investing the money into properly marketing this game. And it's a game that a lot of people enjoy. Like a lot of people enjoy baseball. A lot of people enjoy going to baseball games. I mean, every baseball game I've ever gone to it's always so much fun. I mean, you go almost every time that you can.
Yeah.
So like, you get it. Going to games is a lot of fun, and it's a fun family activity to do. And yet, the league just does a really poor job of having to market. But to get back to my other point, and my main point is you got guys like Jose playing well. Manzardo hit a bomb. Obviously, Angel Martinez has been on sort of a tear. Schneeman has been on a tear. Quan has been as advertised. He's batting 309.
Yeah.
Fry is back. So you got to give him some time to really develop. Santana has been lights out this year, and he's 39.
Yep.
Like nobody thought Santana is going to be batting like 260, but he is sort of a career 260 hitter. So he's kind of as advertised. He draws more walks. He's a solid hitter, and he's a Gold Glove first baseman. Like he is as advertised. He is always a serviceable player, and he may be able to play through his 40s. To be honest, with how good he is.
Yeah. Well, and
So
that's why you brought him back over Josh Naylor because like
you can trust him.
yeah, like and don't get me wrong, Naylor's having a great year in Arizona. Maybe it was just a change of scenery that he's needed.
Yeah.
But like Carlos Santana, you just know what you're getting with him. With Josh Naylor, it's so inconsistent because like who knows? Maybe after the All-Star break, the dude won't be able to hit the baseball at all.
Right.
Like, and that's the thing about him is like, yeah, he could be starting off fantastic, but then at the next turn, he can't hit anything, and it messes with you. It messes with the team. It messes with the flow because it's like, oh, dude, you were great to start the year. Now you can't hit the baseball to save your life.
Right.
And I have no idea. Like, at least with Carlos Santana, we just know what we're getting. We're going to get a guy who's going to draw walks. We're going to get a guy who's fighting at every at bat. Josh Naylor was not a good first baseman at all. He was an awful defensive first baseman.
Right.
And at least with Santana, he's a Gold Glove first baseman. And Kyle Manzardo has been really excellent on the defensive side of the ball too. So having Manzardo and Santana as two guys that are together platooning at that first base spot, at least you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And you're getting two guys who can hit the baseball and two guys who are really good defensively. And again, same with Andres Jimenez. Andres Jimenez was a platinum glove winner.
Yeah.
But look at him in Toronto. He started off the first month of the year really good. He's been batting like hardly like 150 since and just can't do anything. And it's like that's why you got rid of Jimenez. And look at what's been going on. Schneemann and Martinez have picked up where he's left, or picked up as where he's played at second base. And both Schneemann and Martinez are playing 10 times better.
Right.
And both are playing really well defensively too. Like Schneemann made a couple great plays last night, like a couple great diving plays and whatnot. So it tells you that the front office, I think the front office made the right decisions of getting rid of those guys.
Absolutely.
And because number one, you were going to overpay for them. Number two, you know what you're going to get out of Santana. You know what you're going to get out of Schneemann and Martinez, both really good hitters. It's just that, there's some things that happen, and I just hope to God that the lineup can continue to do what it does. Obviously we talked earlier about making changes to maybe like bringing in Chase DeLauder into right field over Nolan Jones.
Yeah.
Bringing in maybe another starting pitcher. And at this point, I know I sent it to you and Sean, but Dylan Cease is on a 1-year, like $12 million deal right now with San Diego. Maybe going out and getting an elite pitcher like Dylan Cease and having him finish out, run him for the rest of the year, because that's another elite starting pitcher to add to the lineup that will at least get you some wins on the board.
Right.
So if I'm the Dolans, you have to gamble just a little bit. But, as long as the guys keep doing what they're doing and the lineup continues to push hard, you got David Fry back, who had his first hit last night. So as long as it's going to take him, I would say, another couple of weeks to get back up to speed, because obviously getting back up to MLB speed is a little bit difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll definitely get there for sure, and you'll get the same David Fry that just mashes the baseball like it's nothing.
I mean, he was an all-star last year for a reason.
I mean, I went to his first game back a few days ago, and like the second ball he fouled off. Like if he just straightened out a little bit, dude, that thing was going a mile.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this dude's so back. like once he makes contact, you just feel good about it. So we'll see what happens. But again, we're still just before the All-Star break. We still have another month till the All-Star break. So for the people who are panicking, let's stop panicking. Let's just relax, enjoy some baseball. Moves will probably be made because we're going to have to regardless.
Yep.
So just enjoy the ride, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's all. That's really all there is to it, too. Like, just enjoy the ride. It's a long season, man. You can't get too worked up about losses or about certain lineups, as we talked about. It's this lineup now is going to look so different in a month, 2 months.
Maybe even a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's going to look different because this is how the MLB works. And also injuries happen. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. So you have to be prepared. And that's why they have such a large farm system, is because you got to have plenty of players available for these teams. One more guy that I do want to shout out, though, on this Guards team is Clase. It's like he's back.
He's back.
He has been as dominant as he usually was And I would say over the past like month or so, I think his ERA is back to like a 0.74. Like he is not hardly giving up any hits, any runs, any walks really. He's striking out the side or having guys pop out or ground out. He's back. So that is good news because again,
Mhm.
last year it was our strength of hey, if you have the lead after the sixth or seventh inning, it's a GG for us because this bullpen can absolutely work teams, and that plays to our advantage. But you got to go up early, or you got to get up at a good time to give your guys in the bullpen a chance to keep you in the game. Um, the
Mhm.
Guardians just need to find a way to put some more runs on the board a little more consistently. But right now, the bottom 4 or 5 of their lineups lately have not been as productive. But guys like Nolan Jones are getting back to being hot again as well. So guys are starting to find their rhythm now, and we'll see what happens with guys like Lane Thomas too. Like we don't know how long the plantar fasciitis stuff is. We don't know if he's going to get traded. Like man, I think it happen at this point. There's still a lot of moving parts that are going to come down, and I think we've been saying that the last 2 or 3 weeks now. Like there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things that are going to change. So be a little patient, but also enjoy the process. Like and enjoy what we still have because we still have a very competitive team that is going to be around when it comes to playoff time. Like they are going to make the playoffs one way or another. It's going to
Yeah.
happen. If they win the division, great. Like that's awesome. But if they at least squeak into that wild card, that's fine too. As long as you get into the playoffs, it really doesn't matter where you place in baseball. You can beat anybody on any given night. So the guards just have to be really locked in and they got to solidify the starting role a little bit. And I think once we do that, I think the guards will be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, just enjoy the ride. I mean, and lastly, again, for those guys who are complaining about the lineup, I mean, Stephen Vogt can only do with what he has. The front office makes the decisions on who gets called up, who gets sent down, and whatnot. Stephen Vogt's the manager. He doesn't get a say and who gets called up and who gets dropped. So for those complaining about the lineup cards, he's just putting into guys who he has, and that's all he can do.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. You don't want to see Noel in the lineup, or you don't want to see Will Wilson in the lineup. He's got to. Those are the guys he has, and he's got to use them. So he can't just not use these people,
Right.
or be like, I want this guy sent down. Like, it's not up to his discretion. Now he could probably suggest, it'd be like, hey, I would like to see Chase DeLauder up here, but that's really the only thing he could do is suggest people to come up. It's just up to the front office to actually, pull it off.
Yeah, yeah, and we've talked about that too with Sean as well, where it was
Mhm.
like it's not really so much up to the manager; it's up to the front office as to who comes up and who goes down.
Yeah.
So he has to say in the everyday lineup card, but he does not have necessarily a huge say or the final say in guys that are coming up and down. So if you want to blame anybody, blame what's his name,
Antonetti,
Antonetti. Yeah,
Chris Antonetti.
Antonetti. Yeah.
Also,
If you want to blame anybody, blame him.
shout out to Will Wilson. It was bases loaded, nobody out, and there was a ground ball to him, and he made a really good throw at home plate to get the force out at home, and Bo nailed with a good throw to first base to get a double play. So now it's 2 down with bases loaded because he just obviously they're not going to take a chance on Aaron Judge to hit a grand slam, so they're going to have Cody Bellinger, who is the one who did hit the home run last inning, but you would have a better chance against Bellinger than you would against Aaron Judge.
Yeah, no freaking kidding.
So
Although I will say, Aaron Judge is one of those guys that will
it's
strike out regularly. So
very hit or miss kind of hitter. It's
very much.
either striking out or hitting bombs, and and the thing we talked about too, with guys getting out in like 90 pitches or whatever, they've already got the bullpen working with Jacob Junis, and Sacconi's only at 65 pitches.
Yeah. Well,
So
they're probably trying to be cautious in case
I think that's
he
what they're.
gets into some more trouble.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get. I think they realized their mistake on Tuesday where they had Bybee go to the 7th inning. They're like, yeah, we can't have a repeat of that.
Yeah. I mean,
So
let's see. Yeah, Ciccone is at 67.
yeah, he's at 67.
I
But
mean,
he's got Bellinger to an 0-2 count. So
I mean, if he can get out of the inning, I mean, I would say keep him going until he gets to about 90, or he gets into another jam. But it's only 2-0, so it's not like the guards can't hit back. It's just
and this
Freed's just kind of been on, but he's also at 93, so Freed's probably
I think he's done.
more than likely done. And if you're going to start scoring on them, their bullpen is the weaker spot. So
yeah, and they were able to knock out Freed, who's their best pitcher in this rotation right now. They were able to knock him out in 5 innings, which is great work by the offense, by the way. Just staying alive, fouling off pitches, getting on base, drawing walks, doing whatever. That's just great on them to kind of get rid of their starter in a hurry.
right.
So, like you said, if we can get out of this up down 2-0, get into that bullpen, Guardians got a good shot to come back in this.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the Guardians. They always got a good shot to get back into it. Like that's just kind of sort of the nature of the beast. Like they will just find an inning and they'll have like a 4-run inning. And you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
where did that come from? Like it happens. Like if you're not a Guardians fan and you don't like see it as much as we do, and then you see it, it's like the Detroit fans. They were so shocked and they're like, man, they are just relentless. Like they just come out of nowhere and they will have just a debilitating inning or two and they will just beat you down because they're a contact hitting team. They're not a slucky team, but they have enough power to at least slug out when they need it. But it's why, like, I really want to bring up Kafis, and I know why they want to keep Noel because obviously he has slugging potential, but he's just not seeing the bat right. He's not seeing the ball, and in the batter box right, and he's got to clean that up in the minors. And everybody who's going to AAA that did struggle is playing phenomenal in AAA. So maybe go down there, have him work, and he might get back to form.
Yeah.
And it would be in perfect time for him to come back up if you really want him again. And then he can do what he did in the playoffs again.
He just needs regular at-bats, and that's what we were talking about. He just needs regular at-bats. And that's beautiful from Ciccone as he gets Bellinger to fly out. Everyone in the stadium thought off the bat that ball was smoked, and that was a grand slam by Bellinger, and it was not even close.
Yeah.
So good on Ciccone to get out of this, get the work done, and get out of the inning. So, and that put him up into like 70 something pitches.
Yeah, so he might.
I think he's done.
Might work into that. Yeah, they'll probably pull him, but he has a chance to go in one more, or at least like work part of that next inning, because it's only the 5th or 6th.
Yeah, it's gonna be the top of the 6th coming up. So
I mean, he is pretty due for it. So
and you're at the top of the order too with Kwan and Martinez and Ramirez. So the 3 guys you want right up to bat. So, but that's all we really have in the guards right now.
Yeah. I mean, same here. I really don't have too much more. Honestly, we talked a good bit. We're almost 40 minutes into the podcast, so we won't spend too much more time talking. But I did want to talk a little bit about the finals because, let's be real. There's not a lot of talk about the finals in the media this week. Like, I think there's been more conversations about stuff going on in OTAs than there is in the NBA finals.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
What is going on, man?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think it's just because it's 2 smaller market teams that made the finals, and everyone's just kind of like, at least the media is a little butthurt about it. But obviously for us who in a small market, we love it because it's like, oh, cool. It's not New York. It's not LA. Right, it's not Chicago. It's not like Miami. It's like, oh my God, it's 2 small market teams, finally going head to head. And it's like, we hate sports media. So it's like, this is what the media hates. So we love it because they don't like small market teams. And what's funny is, I saw this. There's this guy on TikTok who does this like videos on the subway, and he asks people what their take is, and it could just be on anything.
Right.
And he was talking to Asia Wilson from the WNBA, and her take was, and I thought this was a fun one. Her take was people in sports media who have never played the sport they are talking about should not be qualified or should not be allowed to talk about that sport.
Yeah.
So like Stephen A. Smith talking about baseball. Like, you've never once played baseball in your life. Why the hell are you talking about it? Or like, you've never played soccer once in your life. Why are you talking about it? Same with guys like Max Kellerman or Colin Coward. Like, you guys never played these sports. Why the hell are you talking about it? I had to like know it. And I was like, that's a very good. And she also mentioned that sometimes athletes do not make the best pundits in sports or like sports journalists.
Yeah.
Like, just because you're a former athlete or like NBA player or something doesn't mean you're gonna make a good analyst or whatnot. So I thought that was very funny and very interesting because she really made some really good points about it. And a lot of it is true because a lot of the pundits they do have are from more of like the bigger market teams.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I haven't seen one like maybe like Cavs pundit like in a national media. I haven't seen this guy here and whatnot. So I don't know. I thought it was a good point, but I don't get why the finals has not been talked about as much as recent years, because honestly, this is probably the best case scenario for the finals.
Yeah.
Because it's two teams that play really good, really rough, play really physical
And
and
fast. Yeah.
and fast. This is like the one like older people should be like super happy about too, like because it's like, oh, this reminds me of the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
even though the defense was god awful in those years. But I really do like the who's in the finals, because like if it wasn't Indiana, obviously I'd rather it be us.
Right.
But but even still, like it'd still be two small market teams in OKC and Cleveland or OKC and Indiana. So I'm happy either way.
Yeah, because I mean, so here's the thing: you got two different storylines. You got OKC has been the best team in the league all year long,
Yeah.
and then you're going to say, okay, are they going to be able to capitalize on this great season and win, and now sort of solidify themselves as one of the other good teams in the West, along with Denver, um, and a bunch of these other younger teams that have sort of really made some noise, like Dallas before they traded Luca was going to be one of those teams with them and Kyrie, like. Man, that was going to be a good team. And Dallas is going to be a good team again once they draft, Flag and they bring back AD and Kyrie hopefully comes back. Like the West is going to be an interesting one, but the Pacers coming out of the East was obviously not really expected. Although I will note, and I am sort of rooting for them because I'm always a fan of rooting for the team that ended up beating you, because if you're going to beat us, go win the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's been like my my motto for years. But all of the Pacers fans that have been dogging on me on TikTok over the last few weeks, shout out to them. Learn how to win respectfully, okay?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, dog, like I can't help but like give y'all credit. Like you guys ran the table and you took advantage of the fact that the teams that you played were a little banged up or just not full. Like the Knicks are a talented team, but they're playing six guys a night. They can't keep up with your pace all game long. They have spurts. The Cavs, obviously we had injuries and it was a little, too little too late after game 2. Game 2 is what really solidified that series for the Pacers, and that's what did it. And so they have had an easier path, I would say, but overall, this is going to be a fun series. Like the Pacers may still lose this series in 5 or 6 games, but they're going to make every game competitive. And to be honest, I'm not going to be shocked if they push OKC to the limit. Like really pushed them because, I mean, dude, they've shot the daylights out of the ball. Halliburton was not a good 3-point shooter throughout the entire year, and he is like stepping into like dribble driving, step back, 3-point shots on a nightly basis and doing it well. His role players have all just done an exceptional job. Siakam is finally starting to catch some heat. He played really, really good in that last series against the Knicks. Um, they do have good guys on that team. They have really good role players. You don't always need fancy guys to compete in a league like this, because if the team molds and the team plays well, they can have great success. It's like the Spurs back in the day. The Spurs
Yeah.
didn't have having to look back, like obviously you have Manu, you have TP, you have Tim, Tim, like they had a good squad. Kawhi was a good squad, but at that time, like Kawhi wasn't really. I mean, he was a young player just starting to just sort of find his feet. Obviously Tim Duncan was what he was, but TP was never like a super crazy player. He just played well within that team and within that system. And they found something with Mark Carlisle, who we all knew was a great coach. He was a great coach for the Mavs for years. And they have really found something with them, and they found something with Halliburton and Siakam and, just the role guys that they have. They're a really dangerous team. And if OKC doesn't take them seriously, OKC is going to find themselves in a hole that they may not be able to know how to dig out of because of their lack of experience. And that's the other fun part about this series is neither team has been to the finals at all. Like,
Yeah.
I guess you could say the Thunder have, but that was back when they had Harden, Westbrook, and KD. That was the last time they went to the finals. Like in Indiana, I don't believe ever has. Like even with Miller back in the day, I don't think they made a finals at all. So it's a unique finals appearance. It's a unique finals for everybody. It's everybody's first, go around. For the most part, besides Siakam, there's not a whole lot of other guys. I mean, I think Caruso won one with the Lakers. But other than that,
Yeah.
I really can't think of too many more players overall that have been
Um.
in a finals appearance.
So, the Pacers made one NBA Finals back in 2000, and they lost to Kobe and Shaq and the Lakers. Um. So that was the only time the Pacers ever made an NBA Finals. OKC was, like you said, 20. I think it was like 2012 when he last made the NBA Finals. Um. I'm trying to see because I'm going to go to the roster here in a second and see if I just remember anyone who's actually made the NBA Finals ever. And it doesn't look like really, anybody
Right.
besides, like you said, Alex Caruso, who I think won in 2020 with the Lakers, the COVID championship. Other than that, yeah, I don't think anyone else has at least even made or even came close to the finals. Um, when did Hartenstein play for the Cavs? Because maybe he was on maybe he was like on like 2018 or
I think he was on that team.
oh no, he's 2020 2021. That's what it was. He was the COVID season with us.
Who was there was a guy that played on the Cavs with LeBron that was like one of those guys, and it was 2018.
I God, what was his name? It wasn't Mozgov.
No, it wasn't Moscow. I'll look it up here
Yeah, I don't
because we had
remember.
an interesting. Oh, it was Zizic.
Ante
That's who I
Zizic.
thought. That's who I thought of for
Ant,
some fucking reason.
yeah, Ante Zizic. Yeah.
That's funny. God, that was such a random roster too. Like we had Jordan Clarkson, J.A. Crowder, Channing Frye, Jeff Green, George Hill, John Holland, Rodney Hood, LeBron, Kyle Korver, Caleb, Larry Nance, Jetty, Perk. We had Derrick Rose at one point. We had
Oh
Amon.
man.
We had JR, we had Isaiah Thomas that year, obviously before the trade, TT, D Wade before he got released, and obviously Sizik. So yeah, that was a fun, and they were still 50 and 32, fourth in the
Uh,
in the
oh, you know who else?
East.
You know who we're forgetting? Pascal Siakam, because he won the title with Toronto.
No, yeah, I did say that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
did say
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. I
basically
feel that.
besides him and Caruso, yeah, none of these other guys have made it anywhere.
So yeah, there's they have the guys to sort of be the leadership in the like in the locker room that they need, but it's really going to come down to which team is mentally more prepared. And to be
Mhm.
honest, man, I kind of have a good feeling about the Pacers. Like I feel like they're just very well built in that room. Like they seem like a team that is very tough, very focused, and very on point. But OKC has still played some outstanding basketball, and they've been pretty damn consistent for the entire playoff run. And obviously SJA or SGA is gonna play lights out. I mean, he is potentially the next face of the league here after winning MVP. If he's the one that really sort of leads the way for them, like he's going to win, finals MVP, and
Yeah.
then that's going to help his case. But OKC is more, they have more depth and they have better scores overall. Like they have the potential to really run a team out of the room, but to pay the Pacers, just a really tough team. It's going to be a fun series, and again, that's why I'm really disappointed that the media isn't really talking about them. But the only thing that they're really saying is, "Oh, Halliburton isn't a superstar," and I'm like, dude, I think he sort of put that to bed. Like, you can't argue what he's done, and you can't disrespect what he's done and what he's been able to do with this team. I know he has nights where he'll score 10 or 12 points because he's not a great shooter, but he
Yeah.
is a dominant point guard and he is a big body point guard, which really, really helps him, especially in a playoff run like this. Like this is what you wanted like Ben freaking Simmons to be. And
Yeah.
he just never could. And dude, you gotta think, man, these teams that gave up on guys like SGA and Halliburton, the Kings and the Clippers, those teams have to be kicking themselves in the butt for giving up on these guys or trading them away
Yeah.
the way that they did.
I think it was the 2020 NBA draft, and I saw like Aaron Nesmith from the Pacers, who was
Yeah.
drafted by Boston, and I was like, Boston could have had Aaron Nesmith, who's actually
Yeah.
been lights out in these playoffs.
Yeah.
And there was a couple other guys. I was like, oh my god, it's like these guys. I was like, were these guys just traded like on like draft day too? Because like some of these guys who were drafted, they were like they've been balling so far, and I have to look up the uh draft class because it was something weird. Let me see. Where is it? Yeah, because this was the first pick was like Anthony Edwards. The Hornets or the Warriors drafted James Wiseman for some reason.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
then the Hornets drafted LaMelo Ball. So like, funny enough, the Warriors could have had LaMelo. This was the draft we got Isaac Okoro in. The Wizards drafted Denny Avdija. The Kings drafted Tyrese Halliburton. The Celtics 2 picks later drafted Aaron Nesmith. Who else was in this draft? Sadiq Bey, who was traded to the Pistons after being dealt to the Clippers, and was drafted by the Nets.
yeah.
This was the Tyrese Maxey draft too, because the Sixers drafted Tyrese Maxey late in the first. The Thunder had Emmanuel quickly, then they traded him to the Knicks. Oh yeah, this was also the Celtics drafting Peyton Pritchard at 26th overall, and then the Celtics 2 picks later drafted Desmond Bain, but then traded him to the Grizzlies.
Jeez.
So the Celtics could have had a loaded roster too, just in that draft class alone, because you had Nesmith, Desmond Bain, and Peyton Pritchard. Like, imagine the Celtics keeping those guys now. Like, that would be the most elite draft, like, by any team in a while.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh man, but I'm excited to see how this finals turns out. Um, because right now, last time I checked, it was like a 4-point game going to OKC
Yeah.
with a couple minutes left. Yeah, it's like 14-10 with like 4 minutes left.
So yeah, I
But
mean it's obviously still very early on, but yeah, it's gonna be a dogfight all series long.
oh
It's
yeah,
gonna be fun.
oh absolutely, and that's why I'm gonna love this NBA Finals. It's just a dogfight.
Yeah,
It's just
that's what the fans care about. We care
yeah.
about a physical, fun series. We don't want a 4-1 series. We don't want a 4-0 sweep.
No,
Um,
I
like
want Game 7 or something.
yes, like we want a finals. And I mean, honestly, everybody says that the Pacers had a really easy road this year. I think Boston had an even easier freaking road
Yeah.
last year, in my opinion. Like every team that they played had injuries at some point.
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean, the Pacers
even
had us injured.
yeah, yeah. So it'll be interesting,
For
but yeah,
sure.
that's pretty much all that I got. It's like 78 degrees in my house right now, so it's not fun. I don't have AC, so I'm dying right now. But Drew, you got anything else before we log off for the night?
No, I'm all good. The only thing I have left is obviously our sponsor every week. Check out the sponsor, Effortless Wins, for sports betting advice and plays to boost your wins. Talk to Tony and Greg. Links will be in the comments on YouTube or in the description of Spotify. Be sure you guys go and check it out. These guys are really good at what they do. And hey, if you want some sports betting advice or just some plays to help you just make a little bit more money, all you gotta do is just click the link, check it out, see what it's all about. Does it hurt?
No, and let me tell you something. They do post a ton of wins in there. Like guys that
Yeah,
are in that channel, they are posting wins on a day-to-day basis. He's
absolutely.
got they have a pretty solid clientele at this point, so there is results. This is not just some sort of scheme of like trying to, pay some bum money to give you super crappy betting advice. Like he actually gives really good advice.
Yeah,
I've read
he's
it pretty thoroughly, and I haven't really gotten a chance to really take full advantage of it because I'm dealing with some money, issues over here. But um, he's the real deal, man. You got to trust
yeah,
him. Like he's awesome.
yeah. He's retired at 31 for a reason. Um, I mean, this is a guy who's cashed out tens of thousands of dollars, man. So this is a guy who knows what he's doing. He's retired, does it full time. He does heavy, heavy research early in the morning, and I mean like heavy research.
Yeah,
So a lot of it of hard work goes into what Greg does and Tony, and these guys put out some good bets, and they'll give you the advice of to like do single bets, or if you do a parlay, make sure it's no bigger than maybe like a 2 leg parlay, just to like double your money or something. Just because, I mean, I get putting up those like 6 to 10 leg parlays are super fun and super edgy and whatnot, but those things never win.
yeah,
Um, you might hit one every so often and get lucky, but I tell you what, I've been doing like he's been posting like some simple things like, oh, there's a 2 leg parlay of just two guys getting hits and it's like plus like 120 or something, and
right.
I've had one multiple times hit in the first inning alone, or like maybe like in the first few innings alone. It's like I just doubled my money in the first 4 innings.
Yeah,
So I recommend it.
yep.
I
It's
highly
legit.
recommend it. Yeah, for
Really
sure.
is. All right, guys. We will see y'all next week with some more Guardians news. Hopefully, some more Brown stuff, and who knows what else will happen in the next week of Cleveland sports. We'll see you guys next time.